All right, we're back with Ray again. Clint Frank here. And, it's interesting. When I first started trimming with Ray when I was 19 years old, which would have been back in, my goodness, 1989, I believe, is when I got started with you. Typically in the construction industry, it's a man's world out there. But I got to work side by side with Ray's daughter, who was about a year older than me. And, so I got to trim beside her, but I was just wondering, how did Glenda get started? When did she start and how did she get started?
I would take her along lots of times. That was before we had the power tools, and she would set nails. In fact, when she started, it would take her a day. I'd be trimming, and she would start setting nails. I'd leave the nails go, and she would come down, and she would set them, and it would take a whole day. Later on, she would get it done in about a half a day. And then she'd say, "Dad, what do you want me to do?" And I said, "Well, you know what, let's come over here in the closet and I'll show you how to do baseboard." So I showed her how to, fit it and then how to cope it out and all. And after a bit, she was doing all the closet.
And what age was this?
What age was she then?
Yeah.
That was, she was still in school, Clint. I'm not really sure. Probably 16, maybe.
16.
Something like that, 15, 16. So anyway, later on, here she was doing baseboard in, the bedrooms and things like that, and throughout the house.
And wasn't the original reason because you were pastoring and running the business, you weren't getting to see Glenda too much? Libby might have suggested.
That was another reason, yeah. I realized that, I needed to spend more time with her. And so I could just take her along in the truck, about an hour to the job and an hour back, and then be with her there. And we just had a tremendous relationship together.
Yeah, because you always have at least an hour drive in construction one
yeah,
way. It gives
right.
you plenty of talk time.
Right. So she graduated from high school, and she was good in the typewriter. She did my typing and things for the proposals and all, and she had a lot of calls, but she always worked at Black Rock through the summer.
The retreat.
The retreat, yes. And counselor there. She counseled, for years there, and she liked the special week, and so she stayed for that. Well, that took up the summer, and all the phone calls that she got for a job were pretty much gone. And so I said to her, "You know what, I have work. If you want to, you can work for me." And she said, "Yeah, okay, I'll try," And so she started trimming. And after a bit, Clint, she was doing everything. She was hanging doors, and she even did
I put crown molding up with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that one guy said to me about her, said one thing I remember about her, when she was putting crown molding up, she would stand in a 5-gallon bucket and she would just work that thing right down, as she was nailing, work it right down to the end. Plus also, she would go in and measure a room of baseboard, cut it all, cope it out and stuff, put it in, take it in, put it on. I never did that. I would do it one at a time. But she got very fast, and actually, Clint, she did not bring the smallest paycheck home, And some of the guys, when they heard, yeah, there's a girl works, you mean in the office? And I said, "No, she works out, and oh, right, girl, But she did do very good work. Girls, I think, are a bit more particular than men, usually, and she did fine work.
Yeah. What was your biggest concern with her being out in the job site?
Well, one of the concerns was it's a hard place, on construction. A lot of hard guys and stuff. And just say this one thing: one guy on the masonry crew, he said something that he shouldn't have said to a woman, to a girl, to her. And I never did hear what it was, but one of the guys told the superintendent, and that guy fired that guy. And so, she...
that was Ralph Wickersham, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He fired one of his own guys.
He fired one of his own guys when he found it out, yeah. So, what that was, I really never asked her. But she also witnessed on the job. And I remember the one superintendent, he was so convicted that he just kind of swung around, and he with his fist, he just put it right through the wall. I mean, he hit it so hard that if there would have been a stud there, he probably broke his wrist. But it's just, And I can remember another time that I was sharing with a guy. He was a superintendent, and I was sharing with him about the Lord, and he said, well, in the meantime, here she came up to the trailer. She needed some stuff. She just stood there and was listening as I was witnessing to him, and he said, you know why I don't go to churches? Because of all the hypocrites. And so I shared with him. I said, you know what? You're smaller than a hypocrite if you're hiding behind him, and you probably spend eternity in hell with him. And, you know, as I said that, she just said, I want you to know that you're not looking at a hypocrite here. And when she said about her dad, you know, that was pretty special to me.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there one story of a time when Glenda was out on the job site herself, and there was supposed to be somebody that was to one of the guys was supposed to.
There was, and you know,
it's an interesting story.
Yeah, that's one of the things I never wanted to do. Send her out on a job by herself. You know, always wanted one of the guys from our crew to be with her. Plus, this job had a windowsill that it was so big that it actually took 2 people to fit it in there and to get it in right. And so I went up to the job, and here she was there by herself. And so I was not happy with that, and so I went right back to where the guy lived, and I did tell him, I said, hey, what's going on? You know, knocked the door, he came to the door, and he said he, you know, just wasn't feeling good. He didn't call in sick or anything. And he knew how I felt about that, about her being in a job by herself. And so I told him, I said, you get ready and you get up in that job today. He said, I'll be there tomorrow. I said, no, you be there today or you don't have a job tomorrow. And he did show up in the job. So, yeah, that's, you know, that was one thing that I didn't want her to be in a job by herself. Yeah. Plus doing something that was too hard for one anyway.
What would be the one, maybe character quality that Glenda had that, you know, stood out maybe to other people, or whether it was her on the job site, you know, whether on the job site or...
Well, I said Glenda had the character of Jesus, there's no doubt about it. And I often said that I don't think she had an enemy. You know, yeah. She just had a way of getting along with everybody, and she saw the best in them, you know. Right. She would try and see the best in people, and she just had a lot of people later on, of course, when she got married. Bill Blank was a pastor, she was a worship leader, and you know, the people just loved her. They seemed to gravitate to her, and you know, I guess with this we can say that 2 years ago she was killed in an accident, bicycle accident in Oregon, yeah. And you know, there was what was
she was what, 47?
47, 46 when it happened, and she turned 47. But she, there was on, what do you call it, Caring Bridge, I guess it was called. Mm. There's over 1 million people came on that. And so many of them said, Glenda, we don't know you, but we've been reading, you know, about you, yourself, and your family, and we want to be a part of your family too. I just want you to know that we're praying for you every day. Wow. Over 1 million. You know, it's just amazing. So, yeah, she was well liked, and her, she did die. You know, 2 months we were at her bedside there, and we prayed for her, read the word and promises, and had communion with her and things. And finally we just said, Lord, we're giving her into your hands. There's a tremendous peace came over us when we did that, and she left us, you know, at an early age with a daughter that was 16 years old, and she's in Bible school now, right now in Oregon, and she loves it, and so she's a chip off the block, and yeah.
Glenda knew how to survive in the man's world of construction.
She did.
Because I've only ever come across maybe 3 other women that have been on the construction site. Not the ones that clean houses. There's usually a few that clean houses, but as far as trimming or that would be a painter too. That would be
I knew one.
She was one of the few, but she knew how to
5 years
how to handle herself.
She was with us for 5 years and then moved
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
And I'm sure over the years, I can't remember, I'm sure I learned a couple things from her. She'd already been doing it before
Yeah.
I got started.
Yeah, right.
So,
yeah.
I never always had a good time working.
Well, she
Working
drew up
beside
her dream house, and we built that, and her and I trimmed it out, and we worked at that together. And of course, our home here, she was in Bible school in Oregon at the time, and she came home when we were putting the deck on, and she helped do that, and then she'd get back when we were trimming it out. So she trimmed her own room out, and then she did our closet. What do you call them?
Walking,
Yeah, it's a walk-in closet, but it's
fancy.
yeah, they have it for clothes hanging up and stuff.
And organized.
Organizer,
Yeah.
yeah, like an organizer. And she did it with hers, just a regular closet. We had a walk-in closet, and said, "Hey, you did a good job there. How about organizing our closet?" So she did, and she put it in. And she probably trimmed more of it than I did here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate you sharing about Glenda, and that was your only daughter, your only child that you had, and so I just remember working with her and wanted to just share how a lady makes it in a man's world of construction. And
Yes.
she did.
She did, and her daughter is just a very special girl. She graduated with honors in high school. She got a $200 award for one of her drawings. 300, I'm sorry, 300, and the school got 200. She got the Presidential Award for Educational Achievement, and then she got another award for drawing and stuff. So, she didn't give up, but
Yeah.
it was tough for
Yeah,
her.
right.
Plus, her dad had met a guy there pretty soon, and it was like,
Met a gal.
I'm sorry, what did I say? A
You said a guy.
yeah, met a girl, and he get married within about 2 years. But
Which would have been a quick transition.
yeah,
for
it
her.
was, and to see her dad with someone other than her mother, that was pretty hard. Tough for she's working through that.
Yeah.
But I had my first car here, and I told Glenda that's hers whenever she wants it and all, and so. Since Glenda's not around, I said something to Emily, and at first she wasn't too interested in it. Now she's interested in old cars, and so she said, "Grandpa, I want your car." So she's going to pick it up here and going to use it for a wedding when she comes in.